Hello and welcome to this discussion of your first project in this English 102 course. The first project is going to revolve around our textbook, The Hungry Planet by Peter Menzel and Faith D'Alucio. So we're going to go through this prompt, discuss the rubric, and look at a sample essay to set you up for success in this assignment. So for this first project, you will compose a visual analysis of a photograph from the Hungry Planet text. You're going to look at a carefully constructive rhetorical photograph. The second part of the project, and we'll discuss this at a later date in more detail, is going to allow you to compose and produce your own image of your own week's worth of food consumption and write a short reflective essay that explains the choices you made in the construction of your photograph, as well as reflecting on the overall experience that you went through as you created the image. That will come later though. For this first project, you're simply going to be analyzing a photograph in the Hungry Planet textbook, one of the photographs of a family and their week's worth of food. You have several countries to choose from, so look at the images carefully, read the corresponding chapters, and find one that interests you that you feel you'll be successful in writing an essay about. So for the visual analysis, remember analysis is a critical examination of the parts that make up the whole. Refer back to our PowerPoint posted last week to talk more about different aspects of visual analysis and different things you're going to want to include in this essay as you analyze the Hungry Planet images. The parts of a visual text, like the photograph we're going to be looking at, include words and phrases as well as images, colors, patterns, and spatial arrangements. Visual analysis focuses on identifying and understanding these features of a text and interpreting the meaning they represent. In addition to an analysis of what the visual image is communicating, an effective visual analysis typically also contains a copy of the image and a written description of the image. As you tackle this first Hungry Planet essay, I ask that you include a copy of the image you've selected of the country and family. You're going to include that at the end of the essay or in the works cited page. You're also going to want to include a paragraph of written description within the body of your essay. Oftentimes, this will come as a part of the first body paragraph after your introduction, where you explain what the image looks like so that your reader can then understand how your analysis is going to function. As discussed in our PowerPoints, analytical writing focuses on complex subjects, and that's exactly what these Hungry Planet images are. There are a lot of pieces that come together, whether you're analyzing the food as it's composed within the image, how the family is staged, the background used in the image, the colors, and other aspects that you have a chance to analyze and determine the purpose of in this essay. Writing in this genre is research-based rather than personal-based, and the analytical presentation is focused and straightforward. Therefore, no first-person language should appear in your essay. That means we don't want to use the words I, me, or my at all in this essay. If you see them appear in the essay, make sure that you delete them as you go through your revision process. Your conclusion should go beyond restating your major claim or thesis, and the conclusion is an opportunity to outline how the parts work together in the image and to explain whether you think they function effectively. In this project, you'll be asked to explore different cultures and traditions, so make sure that you read the entire chapter that's attached to the image that you look at. You're going to analyze one photograph from the Hungry Planet book by answering questions that will give the reader insight into the rhetorical appeals of the photo, ethos, pathos, and logos, as well as the visual analysis aspects, like white space using, proximity, grouping, text aesthetic, etc., all from our PowerPoint earlier last week. The meaning of the photograph is something you're going to want to discuss beyond its individual parts, and the relevance of the photograph is important to discuss in terms of both global and local context. To give your reader background, you're going to need to research the context of the food represented in the photograph. That means you're going to look at the country, the region, the economic significance of that country, and the nutritional value of the food the people are consuming. However, the majority of your essay should focus on what rhetorical story the photographer is trying to communicate through the camera lens. How are they using ethos, pathos, and logos to communicate with you about the image? Your visual analysis should be between 4 and 8 pages in length. This is going to be an MLA format, double-spaced 12-point font. There is a video linked later on about MLA style. Check the calendar to follow that link. You must submit the photograph you chose as an appendix to your paper. Your target audience for this analytical essay are your peers in this course, who will be peer reviewing you later, as well as myself, your instructor, as I'll be grading it. For each project, we're going to talk about some major steps in order to be successful. Make sure you're following these steps as you begin composing your essay. Step 1, review the Hungry Planet photographs. Skim through the book, find photographs of a family and their food consumption that you are most interested in, and read the corresponding chapter. Step 2, brainstorm ideas. You'll first summarize the photograph, sharing background information with your reader in your essay. In developing this project, you'll need to examine the qualities of an effective analysis. We have that PowerPoint from last week that's also linked in the calendar if you wish to view it again. The majority of your writing should focus on analysis, visual analysis, and rhetorical analysis. Step 3, conduct secondary research. You're going to want to find resources on the CBC Library's website, which is linked as a video in the calendar as well. You can also use different sources to back up your analysis. The CIA World Fact Book is a great place to go if you want demographic information on your country. A link will be provided along with this video as well. Step 4, compose a draft of your visual analysis. Write the draft to completion. That means you should have a minimum of 4 pages in your draft, as well as an incorporation of your sources, both in text and in the Works Cited page. Make sure that all of that's completed before you upload your essay to the discussion boards for peer review. Step 5, provide and obtain a written feedback on your work. You're going to be responding to 2 of your classmates' essays in the discussion boards, giving them feedback and editing and revision suggestions, and your essay will receive the same treatment so that you'll have good guidance as you move forward in your revision process. Step 6 is optional. You want to get some more feedback, perhaps. Work with the Writing Center on campus. Have a friend or family member take a look at your essay. Make sure that you've got a lot of eyes taking a look so that you can catch any obvious errors, whether they're sentence level errors, grammatical errors, or if they're errors in ideas or organization. It is appearing that the computer's not functioning well for us right now. I'm sure it will catch up in just a minute. We do want to make sure that we emphasize the revision process of this assignment. That means we do want to make sure that we're constantly editing and revising in order to make our essay as strong as possible. In an effort to set you up for success in this assignment, I'm going to talk real briefly about a sample essay and show you some strengths that you might want to highlight in your own work. Of course, as we go into this essay, we do want to follow MLA format. That involves your name at the top, the name of your instructor, the class, and the date, written in this odd format of day, month, and then year. You do have to have a running header in these documents, so that's going to be your last name and a page number for each page. After you've done that, you're going to go to the title of the document. We want this title to be engaging and interesting so that our reader wants to continue reading. All of this should be done in Times New Roman font, 12-point size, and it should all be double-spaced. In this essay, you'll see that the reader gets intrigued off the bat with a hook. This particular student decided to start with a phrase that we're all familiar with, a picture is worth 1,000 words. By engaging the reader's interest with this reference to a common phrase, the reader then is willing to read more into the essay. After we've given a hook, we want to move into an introduction of the family that you've chosen to examine in this essay. This particular student chose the Aimé family from Tingo, Ecuador. The student provides some background information about the image, about the family, and then goes into a thesis statement that does a couple things that I want to highlight. So the thesis statement reads, in the photograph of the Aimé family, taken by Peter Menzel, the photographer used as focal point, proximity, and color contrast, along with ethos and pathos, to create a message for his audience that even as one may not live lavishly, family ties and happiness are enough to keep them content. So this thesis statement is strong because it introduces the image. We give the reader information about the family that's going to be analyzed, the source of that image, which is Peter Menzel or Faith d'Andalusia. And then we go into the visual aspects of analysis. The student has decided to look at 3 of those visual aspects: focal point, proximity, and color contrast, as well as 2 of the rhetorical appeals, ethos and pathos, to prove that Peter Menzel is sharing a message with his audience that even though someone may not live lavishly, family ties and happiness are the most important things. So we're emphasizing the message that the image conveys, and we're supporting that message with rhetorical analysis and visual analysis. Your thesis statements should follow this same type of format. Then we get into our first body paragraph. This paragraph is going to talk about the country itself and the family's economic situation and other information that is interesting about the country. You can get this information from outside sources on the CBC databases. You can get them from the CIA World Factbook, or you can get them from our Hungry Planet textbook. Make sure that you're citing all of the information that you're pulling from outside sources, both in text and in the works cited. After we've given a paragraph worth of information about the country and the family, then we want to use our descriptive language to describe what the image looks like. How is the food staged? How is the family staged? How are the physical aspects working within that image? Once again, you are going to want to support that with your outside sources. After you've done that, you're going to go ahead and look at how those different aspects of visual analysis work. From our thesis statement, we know that this student is going to analyze focal point. So there'll be 1 paragraph about how focal point is being used in the image, 1 paragraph about how proximity is being used, and 1 paragraph about how color contrast is being used. Then we'll move on to the rhetorical appeals, outlining how ethos is used in the image, outlining how pathos is used in the image, and then we're going to tie it all together in a conclusion that shows how visual analysis and rhetorical analysis come together to create a message in this visual image that we found from our Hungry Planet textbook. After we've completed our essay, you are going to want to include an image from the textbook, the one that you've chosen to analyze. And so you can either put that right at the end of the essay here, as the student chose to do, or you can put it at the bottom of the works cited page. You are required to use at least 3 outside sources for this essay, and they are going to need to be included both in text citation and in your works cited page. The works cited is going to be titled as so, and then you'll include your sources. Remember, in MLA format, our sources are alphabetized, and they are also included with a hanging indent. That hanging indent is the second line of the citation needs to be indented 1/2 inch. The easiest way to do that is to put your cursor at the beginning of the second line, grab just the bottom triangle right here, and pull it over to that 1/2 inch mark. That will create your hanging indent for the citations. In a nutshell, that is our assignment. Take your time, read through the prompts carefully, read through this sample essay, and start composing your own rough draft of this assignment. We will be peer reviewing them later in the week. Make sure you have at least 4 complete pages in order to upload your document for peer review. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out via email or get in touch with me via our Canvas Messenger. Check our calendars regularly to see when assignments are due, as well as helpful links that will assist you in being successful in this project.